There are animals on Mars. They are still there, petrified, expired thousands of years ago, lying in state on the surface. Bodies have turned to stone. I am going to point these animals out for you. You will be shown great examples of different species ranging in size from a football to a car. All photos are from the Curiosity rover in Yellowknife Bay area, Sol 130 to 200, particularly Sol 137 and 138. Initially, I was looking for ancient footprints set in stone. Reason being, most people might overlook that. But what would an animal tracks on Mars even look like? Being smarter than the problem, just look for a reoccurring pattern of shape, size and spacing, left, right, left, stride length. But what if they belly crawled? Seal-like. There is only a few locations with photos of the ground, clear of dust and sand, with little to no fractures. It is hard to find a pattern. Still, there are many marks in isolation, but this does not constitute an animal walking through the mud right here thousands of years ago. This particular photo, a mosaic image spliced together from multiple images to make the most outstanding image, the one that did it for me. Straight away, there's something about this image you cannot put your finger on. Huge anomalies here. This feature here, aptly named Snake River, grabs some attention. A straight line of rocks, like a snake, as if it's been laid out. This large open pan is exactly what I'm looking for in the search for prints. And it is very interesting. Looks like something scurried across here. Eyes are drawn to this oval feature. It doesn't look natural. Neither does Snake River. Something is certainly going on here. After looking at this for a while, I never expected to notice what's actually here. Void of all thought. Whack! Veil off my eyes. Nest and animal, 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 animal. From unreadable to understood, the entire photo in an instant. I can see what used to be like a farm-like scene. A small body of water with animals in it and gathered around it. The difference now is the water is gone and the animals still there, a stone. This nest is on the edge of shallow water, and what used the nest? Behold, a large animal, petrified, sprawled out on top of a rock. It's been sunbaking for a couple of thousand years just lying there. It made its way on top of that rock and expired there. Large wide head, thick tails, most likely 4 stubby legs underneath its wide body. It overlooks what was a small pool of evaporating water. You see one, see them all. These guys right here next to them, they all come here because of the water and expired because there was none. Their final resting place. In the water was this creature that carved in these channels as the water level dropped. The water disappeared completely and the animal remained, now exposed. Its solid flanks, armor-like, very out of place. What should be a rock-free pan. It appears to be a semi-aquatic animal that did require water for its habitat and refused to leave the water body and carved channels till the end, where it remains now. The same shape, except this guy who's upside down. Was it eaten? Was it scavenged and tossed around when exposed by lack of water? Who knows? These are petrified animals. They were live creatures that lived in this area and crawled to the spots they lie in. Very different to the rocks they sit on. They didn't roll down the hill, they motioned themselves here. There are isolated pieces that seem to have been scavenged, strewn about. Most have fallen apart over time, and they all died due to a lack of water. A lack of water for hydration, or lack of water for concealment from predators. A footprint in isolation is nothing more than a mark. The opposite is true for a rock. A rock in isolation is an anomaly. There are rocks in isolation that have no business being where they are. None. Out of place because they are a surface fossil. The only way they could get there is one, fall from the sky, like a meteorites the rovers have found, and they were animals that crawled there. The rocks that were animals are different from the surrounds by colour and texture. They stand out, like this little one. Not a whole creature, just part of one. It's not a trick of shadow. Almost everything on Mars is caked in a Martian dust, yet the colour of the animals are still visible, even in the raw photos. It's not their natural colour, but one from years of degradation. They shrivel up and they shrink. There was no water, no rain to degrade them or wash it away, no insects to break them down, just the wind and sand blasting causing damage, the constant UV from the sun and the temperature change at night, and the biting cold causing any hair or fur, I doubt it would have feathers, to have fallen out and blown away with the dust over the thousands of years. Whether or not they are male, female, juvenile is a great question. Obviously, the question how big do they get is begging. There is one back here, larger than the front one. There's this one which looks to have its jaw in pieces in the same location, quite small in relation to the others. And I have to show you this photo. In my opinion, this is a sensational image of a large animal. Not one, but two very large animals, half buried in sand, and another one in the background. These creatures are clearly massive, and the clearest one has what looks to be a very straight cut to its neck region. It's tempting to speculate on what come along and cleaved it in two. Maybe a section was removed. It is certainly a massive animal with a very straight and clean end. There are multiple big ones all around Yellowknife Bay. Most look like isolated rocky outcrops. Strangely, what you can learn is they appear to be in pairs. Often in pairs, but not always. Guess you could say there was some love there, some pair bonding. Not all these animals expired at the same time. Likely within the same month, certainly within a year. Some expired when the water disappeared, exposing them. Some look to have been scavenged. As the water level in Gale Crater went down, the animals went down with it. The animals need water to survive and expired when it disappeared. What happened to Mars water? Literally a large ocean of it is down to two jarring theories. That's another video. Obviously, animals as large as the ones pointing it out would leave a large stool proportionally as large, like these isolated lumps of strange rock, that there is a lot of them. Back to the main animal, it's obvious it needs a name. Mardor seems appropriate. Until aliens come down and say the local inhabitants called those creatures this, we will go with Mardor. There you have it. An alien. Alive a long time ago, stone now, one day will break apart and become dust. Even though many have looked at these photos, doesn't mean they see it. This shape, this colour, this size, see past the monotone colour of the baked on Martian dust and see the scene. Curiosity rover was in Yellowknife Bay and took the best pictures, in my view, one of the best photos ever. Sure does answer a huge question Earthlings had. Was there life on Mars? The answer is yes. I hope you like my presentation, and be well.